Buenas. Quick question. Do you know why the pandemic is over? If you say because of the COVID messenger RNA shots, that's not correct. Because the US Center of Disease Control, the CDC, has just recommended getting a ninth booster shot. 9 booster shots. Have you gotten 9 booster shots? Less than 10% of Americans have. So, why did the pandemic end if the majority, like 90% of Americans, haven't gotten all those booster shots? Well, the answer is this: the Canadian Trucker Freedom Protest in January, the Canadian Trucker Freedom Protest in January 2022. Wait, you've never heard of that? That's not a surprise because corporate media, corporate mainstream media, has suppressed TV coverage of that demonstration. In fact, to give you some background, Canada required most Canadian citizens to get fully vaccinated with either the Pfizer or Moderna shot. If you didn't, then you could not fly or drive out of the country, out of Canada. So the only exception to that rule were the Canadian truckers. And these Canadian truckers were the exception because they crossed the US Canada border every day during the pandemic for 2 years. They did not have to get the COVID vaccines. However, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, in I believe December of 2021 or January of 2022, changed his mind and ordered all the Canadian truckers to get the shots too. Now, the Canadian truck drivers were so sick of the lockdowns, the mask mandates, the vaccine mandates, and just didn't want to get the shots because they had been working 2 years straight without being vaccinated. Enough was enough for them. And thousands of other Canadian citizens agreed with them. Well, thousands of Canadian truckers decided to stop making deliveries and instead go to protest in the capital of Canada, which is the city of Ottawa. Other Canadian truckers also decided to block the US Canada border in protest. Millions of ordinary Canadian citizens supported them because they too were sick and tired of the heavy COVID restrictions. Canada, by the way, was way more strict than the United States. So they staged their peaceful demonstration with honking horns, music, and dancing. Their protest lasted a month. Result: truck drivers in the United States, Australia, France, and a lot of other countries started planning their own protests too. That's when nations, one by one around the world, started to drop the COVID mask mandates and the vaccine mandates. World leaders were afraid of copycat demonstrations by their own truck drivers. And lo and behold, life returned to normal, even though most Americans didn't get any more booster shots. If the Canadian truckers hadn't protested for freedom, we would still be living under lockdown and getting multiple booster shots with very dire consequences, as the latest research shows.